Hey guys, Dave with Moneyology here. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Today's September 22nd, 2019, and this is the uranium sector review. So starting with the URA monthly perspective here, and notice this descending triangle is really approaching a very basically tight coiled spring, and I think very soon it's either going to break up or break down. You guys know from previous videos where I stand, but from the monthly perspective here, this is not necessarily so clear. But notice that the bounce off the 38 RSI has been very successful so far, up close to 6% this month, and I think we're setting up for a very interesting end of the year. Let's put it that way. I think that this is going to break to the upside soon, and that's going to represent one of the best investment opportunities of our lifetime, both from a fundamental perspective, which the narrative and thesis is clear, but here soon from a technical perspective, I think this is going to break out, and that's going to be quite the ride. Here's the same chart from a weekly perspective. Notice it had a fake breakdown. Fake breakdowns are very bullish, or vice versa. Fake breakouts are very bearish. And right now we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight weeks of upward price movement on the weekly, and now we're above the 13-week moving average, and we're approaching the 26-week moving average, which is curling to the upside. That's and it's really close to the horizontal as well as the upper trend line here, and I think it's very close to tell us the next direction that it wants to take. It also coincides with the 50 RSI and the downtrend line here. So we're at a tipping point, a inflection point, and I'm very excited to see where it's going to head. Now, notice this right here. This is a momentum move to the upside right now in the PPO oscillator. It's a very important, I guess, hint that this breakout likely goes to the upside versus fails and rejects to the downside. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Notice there's positive momentum here, positive divergence. We're very close to. We're nowhere near previous highs yet we're very close on the momentum already to previous highs. So I like what I'm seeing. There's positive divergence, and let's see how it plays out over the coming weeks, days, and weeks. Here's the daily. Daily is very bullish right now. So it broke above the 50-day moving average right now, which is now curling and serving as support, and it's looking as it wants to set up a move above that 1140 area. I mentioned before that I think we're going to move towards 12 before any sort of meaningful pullback is possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we broke below the 60, and now we quickly curled back higher, and I think we're setting up a move above that very important 69 level Fibonacci. So I'm liking what I'm seeing right now on the URA. Here's the hourly chart. Look at the way we closed on Friday. That was very bullish. I pointed out on Twitter here. I wrote a note saying URA hourly is close to an upside breakout. Frankly, a lot of the time frames, as you see, were close to a breakout. The weekly broke above 0 on PPO, and now the hourly did so as well. You saw the momentum was headed in that direction, and now we were consolidating here on the 50-hour moving average, and once we broke above this level, that was takeoff point. Also, we were very close to breaking above the 50 RSI. We created new highs, consecutive highs, and then boom, we took off. Now, I will point this out. This is where we last broke down here on the hourly, and we're approaching that area right now again on Monday. So if we can break above that, that would be an incredibly bullish sign. If we can't break above that, then perhaps a pullback towards that 1090 area is a possibility. Don't think that's going to happen, but if it does, this is probably going to serve as support. Okay, here's the Uranium Participation Corp daily. This is the best, basically, best instrument to track uranium. And this has been very interesting because the price of uranium, I think, has had 6 or 7 straight sessions of going up, whereas this particular one has had like 4 or 5 last sessions were down. So sometimes there's a mismatch, but closed very nicely on Friday. and let's see if that can extend into Monday and perhaps break this symmetrical triangle to the upside. Here it is on the week. This is the monthly here. So here it is on the weekly. This is just in a very, very extended cup and handle kind of megaphone pattern. And I think that's going to break to the upside and eventually make a run towards 5.3 on this particular instrument. The monthly chart, as you see here, is coiled. It's coiled to an extreme, and it either breaks lower or breaks higher. But it's got to move very soon. It's spent 1, 2, 3 months consolidating, and I think it's setting up for a move higher, but it needs to break above the 9 and 18-month EMAs, which are right now at 434, before it makes a move towards that 5 area. So I'm watching this very closely, and this is going to lead uranium. So let's see where it goes. Okay, let's take a look at the names that I've got on my watch list here. This is in alphabetical order. I like how ALX uranium bounced off the support line so far, and it's starting to curl in a positive trajectory. And it closed the week above the 38 level. If it can perhaps make another 1 or 2 more price ticks to the upside, I think it's going to recapture this downtrend line that it broke from, and perhaps make a move towards this upper band of this downtrend. Anfield Energy. So closed the week very, very poorly. Closed the week at 17% down, and broke this downtrend line. Now, granted, it's not the cleanest drawing, if you will. So, but Anfield just looks weak right now. It needs some support. The only thing I will point out is this level right here is that 31 RSI level is basically the low at which we bottomed and made a strong rally from a low of 3 cents to a high of 59 cents. So we're back to that level right now. Is that going to hold? This is the level that we rallied from here, from a low around 5 to a high of 16. So I'm watching. If it breaks below 31 on Monday or later on this week, I could see another drop all the way to 5 cents. But no, this could be a contrarian play, but it's not looking good right now. API Energy, rounded bottom, cup and handle, and although it's been really weak here of late, it's on the bottom support line, if you will, and if it holds, then that could be a bullish move to the upside back to the upper boundary. But right now, there's really no reason to enter in a position here if you don't already own it, and until it shows some strength. And frankly, I would like to see some strength above these moving averages, because once it breaks above this uptrend bull flag, I think it's going to look really good. But if it breaks down here, then I think we're going to see some significant weakness still. Zarga Uranium. This is just in an extended consolidation right now. It's consolidating below the 13-week moving average, below the 50 RSI level, and I think eventually it breaks higher. But I want it from a momentum play. I need it to break above this level before I'm interested to initiate a position long. You see the PPO is moving in a positive direction, so that's a good sign. But it needs to break above that 50 RSI level. Azincourt Uranium, it's consolidating here, and you look at it from a level 2 perspective. There's a very, very massive block of shares being picked up over here. So someone's buying, and whoever's selling, perhaps they have good reason, but I think this is consolidating, and I think eventually this can shoot up as well. A move from 2.5 cents all the way to 27.5 cents is not outside the realm of possibility, and could be a multi-bagger, and just needs some technical strength here. Blue Sky Uranium, really love the setup here. Pointed this out multiple times. Got PPO moving in the right direction. It's consolidating right below the various trend lines here, but above the momentum trend line right now, above the 38 level of RSI. And I think it's setting up for a squeeze higher towards that 32.5 level once uranium really takes off. And right now we're approaching one of the strongest points in seasonality. So we'll see what happens. Cameco had a shooting star so far last week, and not so much a surprise. You had 1, 2, 3, 4 straight weeks to the upside, and then you hit the 26 moving average, coincided with this trend line as well as momentum trend line. So a pullback last week did occur, but despite that, the URA ETF closed positive. So take that for what it's worth. I think Cameco took a breather, and notice how PPO is very, very close to breaking to the upside. You notice it happened here and it rolled back over. It really happens again that it rolls over. So this breaks to the upside. Expect to move towards 13 rather soon. And then, of course, what happens at that point will determine the next 12 to 24 months. Canalaska cannot seem to break this downtrend, so but it's holding that 20 level, 20 cent level. So right now, seems to be serving strong support. Notice double bottom, positive divergence. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign that this particular back test is just a technical back test with less momentum. So this could be a good area to look at a position. Centrus Energy, this one is just coiling here. I love the chart, both horizontal flag pattern and consolidation. It's going to break to the upside soon, guys. It could take weeks, it could take months, it could take days, but I think this heads towards $10 once this breaks out. So a really nice move could occur. DPLO still in this consolidative downtrend, and it just needs to break out. Until it breaks to the upside from here or to the downside from here, there's just going to be further consolidation. It's right now hanging on by a thread at the 38 level, so we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Denison is very, very close. It's looking really strong right now. To break out above the 51 zone and a move towards 70 is very strong possibility. It closed above this particular breakdown right here. So that's a very strong sign that Denison wants to move higher. PPO has broken above the zero marker. So Denison looks really good, guys, right now. Just pointing that out. Encore Energy, a U.S. name, it really took off a couple weeks ago, three straight very strong weeks, even as the uranium sector wasn't acting so strong, but you had 2 straight weeks of pullbacks. We'll point out the volume on the uptrend is much higher than the volume on the downtrend. So this is still in a bullish flag, and I think this is one of those stocks that's going to be incredibly well positioned if the working group really comes back with some positive recommendations for U.S. Energy. Right now, for now, this just looks like a fake breakout, which is in and of itself bearish. But if it can hold this 38 level, I think it can turn around and move to the upside. Energy Fuels, very close, I think, to breaking higher. I think it's at resistance right now, but there are a number of signs, including PPO moving to the upside, that this is going to make a move towards 250, if not all the way up to 325 relatively soon. Okay, Fission 3.0. And this one's just this is very intriguing to me just because of the expertise of the management team. Fundamentally, this is a company that has really nice upside. However, technically it's been very weak. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 9 weeks it's been down after almost breaking out over here. So I thought we were breaking out here. I was fooled, and I bought some more of the position on the expectation of a breakout, and have been holding the bag ever since so far. But this is a bullish wedge here, and at some point I think it's going to break to the upside, but it needs to show some follow through. It needs to show some strength, and it's not showing it. It's finding support here. Every time it falls, it seems to bounce, but it's not. There's support. There are buyers here, but there aren't chasers here. So until people start buying here and it breaks out above this downtrend, there's nothing really to see here. Fission Uranium, this one has recaptured its downtrend here, and now it's just consolidating, perhaps a back test of the quote unquote breakout zone right below the 13-week moving average. I think Fission is well set up for a move back towards this 50 cent level, and then eventually much, much higher. Forces Metals Corp, round and bottom cup and handle right now. It's got to show some strength. Right now it's showing indecision. Doesn't know whether it wants to move down or up. We'll see. Either it breaks below here or breaks above there. Forum Energy, this has been one of the strongest looking names, guys, and I really like the look of this, and I think it's setting up for a move towards 17.5, and it's got a great portfolio of exploratory mines, and just well set up for new highs. Global Atomic, GLO.V, another beautiful looking chart, and I think it's getting ready to move higher and make a retest of that 60 cent level, and then higher thereafter. PPO has consolidated below zero for a while, and now I think it's setting up for renewed upside. GWX Uranium hasn't been able to break above this downtrend. So long as it's below it, it's in a bearish consolidation, and it can't seem to break above the 26 and 13-week moving average resistance up above. But nonetheless, this still looks like a bullish flag. So it needs to break up above that level, and it needs to break above this level to confirm any solid bullish momentum. All right, Greenland Minerals and Energy. I love the consolidation, guys. It's eventually going to break above this 11 cent zone and move towards that 16 cent level. Well set up, consolidating below the 61 RSI right now. Its PPO is gathering momentum, and price really hasn't pulled back all that much. So a really good consolidation and pullback in time rather than price. ISO Energy. I love the consolidations below below a very important Fibonacci zone, such as this one here at 50. It's consolidating and it's rebuilding its strength right now, and eventually, I think it's going to move higher. From a technical perspective, it becomes interesting once it breaks 65. From a value perspective, this is a great place to initiate a long or consider adding to a long position. Laramide Resources. This one looks good. It had a very strong couple of weeks, and then it's pulled back some. But I think it's setting up for a move higher, and it consolidating above the breakout zone at 38. And I think it's ready to go. Notice PPO and how it's moving to the upside. Next Gen Energy had quite the week last week. It had a couple of days where it was down, I think 8%, and then closed the week up close to 8%, right below the 13-week moving average, and it needs to break this downtrend. Still in the downtrend, but I think it's very close to moving above it. You see PPO is curling in the right direction. Paladin Energy. You know what? I'm really frustrated with this chart. I'm frustrated with just the messiness. It just doesn't want to seem to go anywhere. So I'm really not going to cover this in great depth until it breaks above or below it here. Plateau Energy. This one just continues to interest me because it's at the lows at 25 cents. It's just hovering here at 31. It's either going to break out higher or it's going to break down significantly. Now, I don't see necessarily a catalyst that's going to take shares much lower at this point. Obviously, there could be more political shenanigans out down there in Peru. However, it seems like everything's already priced in, and it just needs a catalyst to move to the upside. And there are a number of those that can come, and I'm watching very closely. Pure Point Uranium, another one of those exploration companies out in the Athabasca region with a great management team. It's consolidating here very nicely. Unlike Fission 3.0, this one seems to be finding strength right now and building strength versus showing weakness. Got PPO moving in the proper direction, and I think this is setting up for a breakout eventually with much higher highs. Sky Harbor, this one bounced, and I think this could be a really good region to be buying here between 17.5 and 23 cents. I think this is very attractive, and I mean, I would study the balance sheet. I'm going to look at that a little bit more myself, see if they might need any financing, because that might explain some of this drop. But if they're well funded right now, and I'm going to take a look at that, I don't know the answer to that question, then this is a good level to buy a very strong portfolio of uranium assets. Texas Mineral Resources is consolidating here, but it's not showing strength right now, so there's really nothing to see. It longer term, the chart is strong. In the short term, I think there's going to be a lot more consolidation. UEX Corp, it's trying to break above that 50 level, but it hasn't been able to do so quite yet. Had 2 straight down weeks right now, but PPO is moving in a positive direction. And once that breaks out, I think it's going to take off to the upside. This is a really good optionality play on both uranium and cobalt. And I like the fundamental portfolio. This is perhaps the best performer back in the late 2000s, or not in the late 2000s, mid 2000s, when uranium took off. This is, I think, went up from a low of a couple pennies to a high of close to $10. So that's the type of potential we see here, and I really like the opportunity. Your Energy, URG, broke out of this flag, back tested here, and it's back tested this 38 level rather of RSI, and I think it's setting up for a move much higher. And finally here, finally is Uranium Energy Corp, UEC, also consolidating right below the trend line, and I think it's going to set up for a move to the upside relatively soon. And even though it's not the favorite of many in the Twitter universe that I follow, I think ultimately this is one of the best uranium optionality plays, and will do very well if uranium price moves to the upside. Finally, Virginia Energy, as I pointed out many times, this is a lottery ticket, which can either be lost, most likely, or can eventually break to the upside. It's not really tied to the price of uranium. It's really a political bet. If you think that they can somehow change the minds of decision makers, and this can really skyrocket. If not, then this is dead money and ultimately moving lower. So that's it, guys. Oh, no, one more. But wait, there's more. Western Uranium Corp, still in consolidation right now. You got RSI breaking lower, and I don't like what I'm seeing here right now. So it's frankly dead money until it can break above this downtrend. But if you like the vanadium and uranium resource in the United States, then this is perhaps a good opportunity to pick up shares on the cheap. We'll be watching very closely to see what happens this week. Let's see if we can get some follow through on uranium and Uranium Participation Corp. And let's see if the price of uranium continues to move up one step at a time. Guys, have a great week. Take care.